Welcome to the Kynective Media Podcast, and I'm your host, Jules Nadalin. Natural skincare is everywhere, but what does natural actually mean? From green beauty to clean beauty, the words sound good, but are they backed in ethics or just clever marketing? Today, we sit down with Denise Williams, the founder of Matter Company, a brand rooted in plant-based medicine, to unpack the myths, the moments, and her mission behind a truly natural skincare collection.
So happy to be here.
Thank you for taking the time. Now, I've been a fan of your brand for quite some time, and I'd love to hear how Matter Company became and what was the original vision and where it is today.
Okay, let's take us back.
Yeah.
I started the brand in the late 90s. So next year will be our 30th year.
Congratulations. That's a milestone.
And basically I was studying environmental studies at U of T and was feeling a bit dissatisfied with what I was learning, not feeling connected. And I decided to take a year off, take a gap year off of studies. And then I found out about this course from one of my best friends at the time. She was living in an off-the-grid community. And I was actually doing a lot of self-study in sort of like what grows around us. So doing like my own sort of foraging. And so she introduced me to plant-based medicine. And she was going to be doing a course on plant-based medicine. And so I signed up for this course. And she was actually pregnant with her second baby. And so we were basically two young hippies.
Okay. With fire bell bottoms. Just kidding.
Yeah, we didn't have bell bottoms. But yeah, if you paint the scene, and basically I ended up studying therapeutic herbalism with this wonderful teacher. His name is Walter Casera. And yeah, much of the business is still based on that practice of therapeutic herbalism. Really fell in love with the practice, and a lot of the products were actually created based on what our needs were within our lives back then. So I have a pregnancy and baby line that's one of our sort of signature collections, and that was based on sort of what my friend needed at the time. So really, we were looking at sort of all of the things that she was dealing with throughout pregnancy. So swollen ankles, stretch marks, back pain, hormonal fluctuations. And then, sort of like a bit of a game changer that's like a really big thing right now is the fourth trimester. So post-delivery, which really just didn't exist back then. So we created products that really were going to help her take care of herself, not only throughout her pregnancy, but then also post-delivery as well. And then, of course, we did things for the baby as well.
I was just going to say, you do have a baby collection as well.
Yeah, so she had a 2-year-old son, and, back then, everything was pretty much laden with parabens and carcinogens and fragrance and petroleum. So there was not a lot that existed on the market that really sort of took care of, really treating the skin as our largest organ and sort of what we put on it, that it's a living system that really is effective to our overall health.
And that line is still in existence 32 years later. It's expanded. Is it?
Age me 30 years later.
You have some beautiful skin from your amazing skincare, so we don't have to worry about that. Do you feel like that is, back then it was a niche market. It was very niche, and it was very specific to your colleagues' lifestyle and needs. How do you feel moving forward and how times have shifted? Do you still see that as a niche market, or do you think it's a broader category in the field of your specialty when we talk about all the products in your skincare line?
Yeah, so definitely I'm not just sort of subject to mom and baby. We have body care, we have facial care. So I sort of entered the market with a niche collection, and Is it still niche? Sort of. It's still niche, but not as niche as one would think. I think with health and beauty, sort of in the healthcare field, it's called HABA. It's actually a very broad segment now. It's a much bigger segment within the industry.
And you said it was called HABA?
HABA.
HABA. Okay.
Health and beauty. HABA. So, okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Great. I'm going to definitely read about more on that because that's the first time I've heard that term. And I mean, that makes me think about, we've gone through so many cycles of natural beauty. Yeah. And you talked about the misconceptions of you touched upon parabens and carcinogens and things that were in products that were available to the market. And I think as consumers, we become really more educated or self-educated, but you specifically, when someone says natural, what does that really mean? Is there a misconception around it in the market, in the media? And what is natural to you versus what is natural to mainstream, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's it's a really good question. I think one of the things that has, and maybe your listeners are maybe familiar with this term called greenwashing. It's where something is labeled as natural because it has one ingredient in there that is natural, and therefore it sort of has this broader context of being natural. So there's many different labels. I think for us, what natural means is we use whole ingredients. So we are very much still practicing using whole plant-based medicine. So we do infusions using whole plants. So everything kind of starts with that. We use whole ingredients, so ingredients that you understand. Our tagline is the ingredients are the product. So there's this really great app where you can actually sort of like download our label, and it'll the ingredient integrity. So it's like you can actually download the label, the barcode, and then it'll sort of give you like a percentage of how natural a product is. It's pretty cool.
That's an amazing. Do you know off the top of your head? Do you know the name of that app?
It's a great app. It's called Yucca.
Yucca.
And,
okay.
YUCCA. And so generally, so it varies. Even sometimes with the Yucca app, we'll sort of like rate 80 something or 70 something, and they're not necessarily considering formulation. So right. I would say one of the things that if your listeners are really interested in sort of natural skincare, it's becoming very familiar with reading labels. And so some of these apps are really great in sort of explaining what these ingredients are.
I mean, and there's sometimes you pick up a bottle and there is so much on that label that is just, it's like a foreign language. You're just like, right. What is this? And that to me is a moment of like, maybe let's take a step back. And, people, what was I did some reading, did some homework, and I'm going to do a Jon Stewart here and pull out my paper, my notes. I was thinking about people's buying and lifestyles, and some individuals will spend more on products based on their ethics, or if it's recyclable packaging, eco-friendly. But approximately in a year, a woman will spend $1,400 a year on beauty. I mean, and that includes a lot of things like hair, nails, makeup. Yeah. But the average approximate is like they spend an average of $99 a month is 40% of women. And then 47% of Canadians spend between $100 and $499. But I love that 86% of these people would be more than happy to buy a product that has ethics behind it. And you are a brand that has ethics. Your brand values where I think your foot has always been planted in nature is one of the things I recall from your past branding. And that's been the core of your ethics and your values. Do you want to talk a little bit more about the core ethics and values? I know we slightly touched upon it, but I feel like you have more you can share with us.
Yeah, again, it really comes down, it really is a brand based on nature. It's based on plant-based medicine. So that really is the core. A lot of people aren't as familiar with plant-based medicine. I think they're used to, they get confused with herbalism and aromatherapy.
You've described Batter Company as a plant-based medicine. What does that mean in practice? And what does that mean to individuals who don't understand what that actual meaning is? What is plant-based medicine?
That's a great question. I think that plant-based medicine, I mean, there's, in terms of natural beauty, there's lots of different names. Plant-based medicine, actually, I think that I'm using that term because I think it's a little bit more approachable, but it's based on herbalism. And so what is herbalism? Herbalism it's a tradition. I think that most cultures, or all cultures, have the tradition of herbalism. Yes. Our grandmothers, our parents, we all...
Our mothers, yes.
Our mother, yeah. We kind of look to those traditions of using plants, even within our kitchen cupboard. There are things within the kitchen cupboard. My mother would give me some ginger tea when I was bloated. My roots are from the Chinese and also Jamaican traditions. So... There's lots of different traditions. I'm sure that your Nona had lots of different traditions.
Picking dandelions.
Dandelions. Oh, yeah. Amazing. Yeah. So herbalism is a very, very, very old tradition, and it's actually where our medicine comes from, So each culture has a tradition. I personally learned within the European tradition of herbalism, but I also like to incorporate what's grown around us within our natural environment, what's here.
Accessible geographically then.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's simply, I've been doing this, as I said, for a while, and it's just simply because I have always had a fascination with what is grown around us. I think that was one of the things that was really appealing to me about plant-based medicine. I came from an environmental studies practice. And with that, I sort of went into foraging and wildcrafting. And so there's just a genuine curiosity that having sort of an understanding of our natural world, not just within sort of nature, but even in urban environments, that we can be connected to nature. And I think, at the basis of that, on a very philosophical level, I decided to bring plant-based medicine or herbalism into our everyday lives, our everyday rituals, because there's something very sort of magical about the healing properties, not just the actual chemical constituents, but there's something magical about being connected to nature in all aspects of our lives.
It predates pharma, for example. This has been the foundation of the world for thousands and thousands of years. You were just talking about it being locally sourced, correct?
Yes.
Which immediately made just things that are
some things. Yeah.
Okay. But it made me think about, and I'm going completely off topic here. Okay. And I was thinking, I'm like, okay, so she uses herbs that are common in nature to North America and stuff like that. Yeah. Has that been helpful with the current state of trade wars with the U.S.? I'm sorry, I got to ask.
Oh,
and we were seeing this
wow,
huge trend
this is
in shopping
okay.
Canadian. So I opened a whole can of worms, didn't I?
You did. Here's the thing. I have always, so we do, certain things that we do locally that are like super, super local.
Yeah.
Is I have a community garden that we harvest from. So we grow our own plants. Yeah. And then we will also wildcraft. So that practice remains true to the business. I'm not wildcrafting every single day. I don't have a big farm. I live in the city, but I am part of a community garden and I'm able to harvest. And we use some of the herbs within our collection from what we've harvested locally. So that's like local. Then there's things like, to just sort of point to your question, like, we use organic sunflower seed oil. I don't get that locally. Okay. And I think simply it's not that I don't want to. I think just basically when you're dealing with sort of big commodity type products, and this is sort of the nature of things, is that it's better to sell your whole field of sunflowers to somebody who's going to process it outside of the country, and then we buy it back.
Okay.
So I haven't yet found certain things that I can source super locally, but we definitely do. We do actually work with certain herbalists as well, alongside making our own tinctures. Yeah,
and that still stays in line with your ethics, but you have to balance the process of manufacturing. And I honestly didn't know you had your own garden that you harvested from. So thank you for sharing that with me. I learned something new about you. When we talk about herbalism, plant-based medicine, is there any regulation in Canada that you need to adhere to? What's the industry like right now? Because you talked about greenwashing. You talked about I think you said clean beauty. And I mean, at one point, the hot word of the year was nutraceuticals. So can you tell us a little bit about the backbone of your processes, or anything you can share to someone who may not know the way the universe educates people, or if there's regulations in your field of specialty?
Not with all products. There's some products that do need what's called a natural health product number. So that's when you're making a certain claim. And so as a small business, we sort of skirt around certain things where we don't make a claim on the label. But talking to you, I know that ginger root is really great for circulation. Yeah. We have a natural sunscreen that is mineral based, and that needs more regulatory because it's a sunscreen and it's a natural product that is making a claim. In regards to sort of like cosmetics, there's not a ton of regulation.
Okay.
So I think that's where possibly greenwashing can happen. So again, it's for the consumer, and like these great apps like Yucca that are really sort of doing this expose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So for instance, something to be mindful of when you see fragrance on a label.
Yeah. I run away.
You run away. Yeah.
Run away.
As you know, like you know aromatherapy. You know the difference between an essential oil and a fragrance oil, and the incredible, insane amounts of really bad chemicals that are.
Yeah. I think I actually picked up a bottle that claimed on the front that it was natural, and then this, I can't even remember. It was like somewhere probably in Shoppers. No offense, Shoppers Drug Mart. Don't mean to throw you under a bus, because I want to be ethical with my purchases when I'm stuck in a moment and I have to go somewhere like that. And literally, I flipped it around, and it was like it said lavender, but it was synthetic lavender. And I was just like, I cringed. And you see a lot of that greenwashing where they're playing up on words like lavender or oatmeal, the things that I think we saw in the early days as ingredients in the spectrum in the 90s. But that being said, do you have like, let's just say 5 favorite herbs or plants that you currently use, and do you want to share why you love them so much?
That's like a hard question for me.
Pick two. Top 2.
I just did an Instagram post on a herb called red clover.
Okay.
So this is a native plant. You will find it everywhere. And you can just Google it and you're like, oh, that's red clover. And we use that in our baby cream. So it's in herbal medicine. It's called, sorry, I'm going to run long here.
No, go for it.
You asked the question. So
go.
I'm going to
go. Ramble. We love it.
So red clover, I love it. It's a nutritive herb. It's just really high in beta carotene, lots of minerals, vitamins, just incredibly nutritive. The environmentalist in me, environmentalists love red clover because it stops erosion. Also, the gardener in me loves red clover because honeybees, honeybees like it. So it's a pollinator, which is really important for the environment right now.
Yes, absolutely.
For the menopausal person in me.
Okay. Okay, ladies who are in that spectrum, listen up, menopausal.
Ears have perked up.
Yep, I'm listening. So what does it do for menopause?
It has phytoestrogenic effects. So basically it really helps with things like hot flashes. Plus it's nutritive. So it's just like this dual action, amazing plant. Okay, last thing. Did I mention it's really good for skin problems?
No, you didn't, because we went down the menopausal road, and you need to tell, like, is it like, I gotta ask you, can you drink it as a tea?
Oh yeah, no, it's a great tea. It's super nutritive. It does have.
Do you sell a tea for?
No, you can like literally go out in your backyard, pick this. This is the great thing about plant-based medicine is that it's accessible. It's accessible to everyone.
Any menopausal women listening, and they have friends that are listening who are menopausal, please send them the link to this podcast so they can learn about this amazing tea of red clover.
Well, we'll have to do a separate thing on that alone.
I'm down. Let's do a whole feature on menopausal.
It's such a hot topic, no pun intended.
And okay, that's red clover is number 1.
I went down the rabbit hole of red clover.
And okay, what's your favorite herb number 2?
Well, calendula is a really good one.
Calendula,
a lot of
soothing.
People know calendula, really great properties. We use it a lot in the baby products, but it's really good for any sort of dermatitis. It's very healing. It's anti-inflammatory. It's like anti-inflammatory, like big time, like, any sort of skin ailment, it's going to really help to heal things super quick. Oh, yeah. So love calendula, love chamomile, love rose hips, from a nutritive level. But we have really great, I've been talking about baby products, but we have lots of products too. So our certified organic rosehip seed oil is a really beautiful facial moisturizer.
Yes, I recall that.
Yeah.
Can you just quickly recap the categories of your collection for our listeners?
Yeah. So mom and baby, which I've talked about a lot. We have another collection called Matter Outdoors. Matter Outdoors was created based on things that I needed for camping. So I don't camp anymore.
You camp in the urban backyards.
My cottage. No. But yeah, so that one was actually created. A lot of the products sort of exemplify sort of the first aid application. They sort of exemplify for me sort of like a sportiness. We have like a heat rub, which is great for sore muscles. We actually
that one has ginger. It has Jamaican ginger.
It has capsicum or cayenne pepper. Has mustard.
Spicy.
It's spicy. It has like a really good Epsom salt blend. One of my favorite products within that collection is our body wash shampoo. The body wash shampoo, and this is kind of like a bit of this sort of scent story. And I want to brag a little bit.
Please do.
Yeah. So I'm very much inspired by nature, and I cross-country ski. And so there was a moment when I was skiing, and it was sort of, that smell, that really sort of green, fresh smell, sun melting snow on cedar.
Oh,
and so
I smelt that.
Yeah. And so I wanted to capture that. And when we work with essential oils, based on their therapeutic value, along with also telling a scent story. So the scent story within the Matter Outdoors collection is very much that sun melting snow on cedar boughs. And I've worked with some really sort of, I'd actually have to say world famous aromatherapists to create some of these signature scents within the Matter Outdoors collection. Anne Roebuck being one, Tracy Pepe being another. And that scent, it's all natural. And I call it like forest bathing. It's just like really beautiful. And the thing I'm going to brag about with that is that I think as a company, a natural skincare company, we were the first company to actually use scents like this, like the cedars and the things that aren't as, they weren't lavenders, they weren't roses.
They weren't the stereotypical.
Yeah, back then it was called unisex. Really aging myself.
Yeah. Is it gender neutral now?
Fluid?
Okay.
Something.
Hope we don't get culture canceled here.
Oh, yeah.
I said that backwards. I love that.
Yeah, so that's my little brag is really, again, using things that are found within, around us, within our sort of environment, and then also creating sort of these really interesting scent stories with.
Okay. And you also have a skincare line.
Yeah, sorry.
The baby, the skincare.
I forgot the question. Yeah.
That's fine. That's why I'm here. You'd be talking to yourself.
Yeah. So I have this collection called Matter Outdoors, which is basically we have a really good hand cream, a really great body wash. So it's sort of like your everyday wellness products. And within that everyday wellness, we have a really beautiful body cream and then a really sort of like select facial care line.
Didn't you also launch a natural deodorant, or am I dreaming?
No, I did. Yeah.
You did?
That's new. Yeah.
That's new. Okay.
Yeah, that's new. That took us forever.
What's forever? Like how many years?
A long time. Yeah. It wasn't working. Okay. It wasn't working. We put it out and then we pulled it away and then we put it back out. So finally come up with a nice formula. So
congratulations.
Yeah.
I'm actually very curious.
Very meadowy. That's like what I like to call it. Meadowy.
Like green meadow or?
A green meadow. Yeah.
Okay. Not floral.
Not floral. No.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
On that note, if someone's interested in keeping in touch with you and keeping abreast of what's new and exciting that's coming up with Matter Company, what's the best way for them to discover you or learn more about your products right now? For our listeners, we're assuming your website. So plug your website.
Yeah, www.mattercompany.com. So that's all spelled out. Matter Company.
And you're on Instagram?
Of course. Yeah, Matter Company on Instagram.
And we'll make sure that we put this in the show notes.
Yeah,
Sorry?
We do some in-person markets as well. So
okay, what's your next upcoming show, like in person?
We're doing one actually. Our biggest show is the One of a Kind show, which is a really well-known show. It's their 50th year. So plug One of a Kind.
Yeah.
Such a great show for upcoming artists, for artists, crafters, yeah, I can't say
And
enough.
it's
Never been
all,
to the show. Really, seriously, this is the year to come.
okay. And I know that the mandate for the show is that you have to be Canadian, handcrafted. Like there's you can't sneak by if you're printing stuff on Vista or something like that. Like it's very artisan.
Yes.
They have ethics before they let you in the door. And you've been just doing this show for years.
I have,
And we're not going to put a stamp on that. And I know that you're working the booth yourself. So if anybody is really enjoying this conversation, pop on into the show and have a lovely one-on-one with Denise, because she is a wealth of knowledge and a wonderful human being. And take the time to connect with her online, in person. We'll keep everything in the show notes. And Denise, thank you so much for sharing your personal story, your personal journey with your brand and your vision and your goals. I respect what you're doing, and keep up the great work. And I'll be at the 30th anniversary party with you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Got to think of something good.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Denise, for joining us today and sharing your story that is rooted in nature and built on values that last. If today's conversation resonated, share this episode with someone who really cares about what really matters in skincare. Thanks for listening. And as always, stay curious, stay connected, and keep telling the stories that matter.